What's up, my people? I'm back with part two of this garden renovation. And if you haven't seen part one as yet, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can catch up and see where I started with this project. Continue watching to see how I finish this tier system for my potted plants as I continue to make my home into a palace on royalscapes. Alright, so before I can get any block work started, I have to get the prep work done before. So between these two cords, I'm gonna dig it down just about 4 inches, just four, so I can get some concrete at the base so I can start building up the blocks from there. Here is gonna be leveled with this part, this concrete that's already here. So I'm just gonna start digging and get started with this. As I'm removing this soil that I dug it from this trench, I'm just using my foot to tamp down the soil so I don't have so much loose soil mixing with the concrete as I place it in the trench. We have a part of this entire concrete mixture. So it's 2 parts sand and 1 part cement. Basically, that's the basic ratio for the mixture. So over here, I already mixed up half of it. So I made a little well in the middle there. So I'm going to add some water now, get it all mixed together so I can bring it around so I can start laying all these blocks. It's going to be a lot of work. So pray for me, though. I beg you. I don't know why, but every time I try to mix mortars, something always goes wrong. I lost a lot of the water there, but it goes on. The process continues. It's a hard process, but it continues. It has to go on. Adding this first row is a very careful process. I have to make sure that each and every block is level, and yeah, I'm gonna explain further on why I was having a lot of trouble with this, a whole lot of trouble. I was using even a board to assist with the leveling process. So as I was saying before, I've never done this thing before, so I started laying this, and I've been having a hell of a hard time trying to get this thing level. But then I realized that right along this line where I have the cord, the earth isn't so square, but it kind of was at a slope. So I figured that out. So what I'm doing now, I'm using the trowel, to just square it up a bit so I can get, hopefully I can lay these blocks a little easier and get them level and up to the chord so they're actually straight. So they're in this, guys, they're in this. So I'm just trying to use a trowel to square up this corner here right underneath the chord. So I'm gonna have to do this for the entire length of this thing. So here we go. Squaring up the base of the soil actually did help with this process. Well, it made laying these blocks a whole lot easier. I really didn't even realize that the soil was affecting it that badly. I just thought that laying the concrete there would form that proper base for me to get level. So guys, I'm back and ready to lay down my second row. So it's very important, especially starting from the corners here, that you don't lay one block on top of the other. It's important that you lay them interlocking, so you tie them together, especially seeing that there is no rebar or steel in these blocks. It's important to get that strength, and doing any form of block work, brickwork, it's important to tie them together or interlock them so you get the strength. So right now I'm gonna start in this corner and start the second row just like that, interlocking the bottom row with the top row so I can get some strength. All right. Alright guys, so this is where getting that first row level and straight comes in very handy, because doing this second row was such a breeze because I got the first row so level. It was not lean or in any way. I just continued using my level to not only check for the level at the top but also to the sides to ensure that it didn't warp in any way. So this was just a breeze. At this point I'm feeling like a pro, I tell you, like a pro. Wait, hold on, what happened? There goes the pro. So here I'm just using a scrap piece of board as a thumb because my foot ain't small enough to get into that little space. So I'm just stamping down the soil in between the existing concrete and my new blockwork before I lay any form of mortar in this section. So here I'm just adding some mortar into the section between the blockwork and the existing concrete area and just leveling it off with my trowel. I also opted to use the shovel over a bucket to fill these black holes. It worked out pretty good, trust me. And then I'm gonna be using a scrap piece of steel to just poke some holes in these black holes and allow them to go down a little better, releasing all air holes. So at this point of the day, I'm tired as hell, but I'm just trying to push through, thinking that I could get the cavity behind the wall there just packed up before the day ended. But trust me, I was so tired. I just finished up and called it a day. And at this point, I think it's the right time for me to introduce the sponsor of today's video. I'm gonna take this time right now and tell you about the sponsor of today's video. It's Blue Lavender Spa and Aromatics. Now, after a long day of DIYing or just a very long work week, Blue Lavender Spa, that's the place for you. To get that back rubbed out, or even just to get that facial done, that's the place you need to be. They're located at My Place Plaza on Old Harbor Road. You can go there, book your appointments. The link will be in the description down below. You can check out their Instagram or their booking website and to get 10% discount, not 5. 10%. Use the discount code royalescapes20 and you will get that discount. Check them out. Awesome customer service. You will not regret it. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. And trust me, after you see me in this video, my back definitely needs that rub out. Let's get back to that video. Good morning, guys, and it's a beautiful day outside today. I am on the second day of constructing this tier system for my garden. Unfortunately, I did have to stop yesterday because I did tired. But it wouldn't I wouldn't say it's unfortunate, but I did need the rest still. So I stopped, and as soon as I stopped, the rain started to fall. So it undid a little of my work. So let me give you a quick run through, show you where I ended and where I'm gonna start. This is what happened yesterday. I got the blocks up, filled them all with concrete, and I started to pack some stones in the back there. So I'm gonna continue with this today, fill it out, add some soil as well, tamp it down with a homemade tamp that I'm going to make and completely stop, and then that will be it. I'm gonna add a finish to the block as well, just to not leave it as bare as it is right now. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna take it up. So when the rain came down, this is what happened. Left some holes because it's right above my little shed here. So the rain just came down and washed away some of the concrete, but that's fine. I'm gonna add another thin layer, well, maybe not so thin, but just to give it an incline so the water runs off and doesn't settle on the top here. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the top here when I'm finished as well. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So now I'm tamping down this section here that I had filled. I went ahead and just filled everything right up to the top, and I learned the hard way that I should have done this in parts. I went across this thing about 10 times trying to tamp it down, adding water, tamping it down, adding water and tamping it down. And my hands were hurting me when I was done. But I got it done. Next time I know better to do it in parts and not just do the entire thing all at once. Now this time I'm adding my concrete to the top part. Here I'm using my trowel to just smooth it out a bit before I use this piece of scrap board as a screed. I held it at an angle trying to get that decline or that runoff for the water, but that quickly faded out and died a natural death. It just wasn't working out. So I just continued using my trowel and my float to get that runoff that I needed. Oh, before I forget, I need to inform you of this mix ratio for my concrete. It's the same ratio as the one before, but this one includes gravel. It includes a ½ inch to 1 inch size gravel, and the ratio is 3 to 1 to 1. So that's 3 parts sand, 1 part gravel, and 1 part cement. That's what I use to fill the black holes as well. Here now you see me doing the finishing. I use the same ratio as before, the 3 to 1 mix with the sand and cement, but this time I used a sieve to sift the sand to get rid of any large pebbles or rocks or any other materials that I don't want. This will give me a finer grade of sand that will give me a better finish. You can always go and buy a finishing type sand at your hardware or somewhere that sells these aggregates, but I already had a sieve and the sand there, so I decided to just do that and save some money. Why not? You can do the same thing too. I used a 1/4 inch mesh and some scrap boards to just make the sieve, and the rest was history. Here now you see me using a damp sponge. I try to squeeze out as much water as I can, but you're gonna see later on where I did this a bit too early. So guys, important point to note when you're sponging down the concrete to get a more refined finish, leave it for as long as possible. I'm gonna say as long as possible, but not to the point where it's hard or solid. Just slightly soft, but it's not hard. So you won't get a finish as rough as this. It will be a bit smoother like this. So I had left this to go do something and come back. Didn't think I left it as long as I did. When I came back, I thought it would be a disaster, but I got a surprise. It was better than when I did this section. Over here is way rough. Here, more refined and smoother. It looks better. So keep that in mind. The good thing about all of this is that I learned from my mistakes and I picked up on them very quickly. So this is what we are here to do. We're learning from our mistakes and we're growing each and every day in each and every project. So take each mistake as a learning curve every time. Now that that's finished, I left this to dry or cure for about a week before coming back to brush it off with my wire brush. I'm just removing any loose gravel, sand, or concrete that's left there with a wire brush and a stiff putty knife. The next step is to just use a soft bristle brush and just brush away all the loose particles and dust and grain that was taken up by the wire brush. In my case, I used a broom. Well, I took off the stick of a broom. And now it's time to paint. This color I'm using here is called Bluebell from Berger Paints. It's a flat water-based paint that I'm going to use as the backing, or it's going to be on the wall to the back of the plants. I'm just touching up these columns. They got really dirty throughout this entire process. I'm just eyeballing the trim down the bottom there. Me and these columns have been around the block quite a few times, but if you can't do this, please use painter's tape. So now it's time to roll out. This next color that I'm using is called Dusty Gray. It's another flat water-based paint from Berger Paints that I'll be using on the tier system that's gonna have the plants on top of it. So after slapping on 2 coats of this and repotting some plants, guys, we done. Here is just a little before of what this garden looked like. Ah boy. And this is what it looks like after. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my projects that are coming out. And remember, if you put your mind to something and you want to do it, just go do it, because nothing defines your success but you.